What is going on YouTube? N64 Fortress here, I'm back. Thanks for tuning in again as always, it's very much appreciated. Here we are, we're going straight into episode 2 of mission N64 239. Yes, that's it. We're going to complete every single UK PAL N64 game, all 239 of them. Last time we completed Lilac Wars, and this time round I've picked a new game, and it is FIFA Road to World Cup '98. Now, the reason I chose this was I've been speaking to some guys about what I'm doing. I spoke to a mate at work, and he mentioned this game. He actually had it on the PC, not on the N64, but it sparked his memory when he saw that it was released on the N64, and he said it was a good game. So I thought, you know what, that's I've got to complete it at some point. And then the same day, I was speaking to another chap, a friend who runs the N64 Powers Facebook group with me, and he also mentioned this game coincidentally, and I just felt like that was too much of a coincidence and a hint that this should be the next game, really. So yeah, another sports game. There's quite a few of them on the system, so there's no shying away from it. It's difficult to know what constitutes completing games like this, really. Sports games, certainly when it gets to the NFL games, I can't be completing a whole season on the 5+ NFL games that are on the system. It's just not going to happen, is it really? It's really going to be mundane to do all of that. And but for the purpose of this game, it just says on the back that the goal is to qualify. Is it? Yeah, your only goal is to qualify on that top line there. So what I'm going to do is, I think there is a penalty shootout function on here, so I will load the game up. I'll have a penalty shootout to warm up, hopefully win that, and then we'll go straight into World Cup qualification. I'm going to pick England. That's who I'd pick typically if it was me playing this game for the first time. I'm England born and bred. I support England, so why wouldn't I play as England? I can resonate with most of the players for that time. The World Cup '98 was actually the first major tournament that I watched and sort of grasped what was going on. I would have been 9 years old at the time. I do have vague memories of Euro '96, but it was kind of before my real passion for football had come along at that point. Yeah, to those England fans out there who remember, it's probably a tournament that got away for us. When Beckham got that red card against Simeone, a pathetic red card for a little kick out of the heel. They just laugh at you in today, maybe a yellow card at best. But yeah, so I think we would have gone on to win that game against Argentina. It was unfortunate, really. We managed to keep them at bay, and it went to extra time and penalties, and we lost on penalties. But had we had Beckham, it probably wouldn't have gone to penalties if we had all 11 players. And even if it went to penalties, Beckham would have been a penalty taker, and he would have likely converted his penalty. But yeah, it's all ifs, buts, maybes. We don't really know. I think that France were pretty formidable in that tournament. They ended up winning it. They were on home soil, so it was kind of destiny, really. They had such great players in Thierry Henry, Fabien Barthez in goals, Zinedine Zidane, Laurent Blanc was a solid centre-back at the time. They might even had Lily and Thuram at the time as well. They had just had a great team, really. I could reel out more as well, if I really think about it. But yeah, they had a great team, and rightly so. They won it on home soil, but I think that England could have pushed them a little bit more had they had the opportunity. But I will just add that I've never played this game before, so it's going to be totally new to me, but it probably shouldn't be too foreign because I did have World Cup '98, which is a FIFA game as well, back in the day. It was obviously the sort of like the next one along to this. This was sort of an era where they probably thought that they could, wouldn't say milk, but they could make the most of it and try and sell a game pre-tournament and sort of a tournament game as well, whereas later down the line, I think qualifying for the World Cup and stuff like that, or Euros, was built into like FIFA games, and then you just have a not bolt on it, you'd have a separate game which was either World Cup or Euro game, and they obviously felt that these was just too short of a game, too small of a game, not enough interest to generate enough sales to warrant making them, really. You just have a tournament game specific, and then just like the typical FIFA for the year, basically. But yeah, I've never played it. I used to play World Cup '98. I bought that, not brand new. I got it pre-owned. It's probably early 2000s. Just picking up games on the N64, and I love that. I used to be able to do the rainbow flick and stuff like that as a trick. You might be able to do it on here, I don't know, but if not, then we'll definitely cover that when we go through World Cup '98. But yeah, without further ado then, let's get into this. FIFA Road to World Cup '98. Come on, England, let's go. What's going on YouTube? Voiceover N64 Fortress here, I'm back. So yeah, as we can see here, you need a memory pack to save your game, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, FIFA Road to World Cup 98 then. It was developed by EA Canada and released by EA in November 1997. Classic EA Sports intro there. It's interesting, this game was released across Europe and it had different endorsers on the box art. So the UK version's got David Beckham on, but the France box had David Ginola. The Spanish one had Raul on the front, and the Italian one had Maldini. It did get released on other systems, PS1, which is slightly different by the look of it, and further still, different versions for the Sega Saturn and Super Nintendo, would you believe? Here we are, straight into a penalty shootout, and so far so good really, a couple of penalties up, but it's not as easy as it looks. It took me about 3 goes to finally win a shootout, but yeah, this was a crucial penalty there that won me the game, but I'm not sure how the keeper didn't save that one really. Upon finally winning a penalty shootout, I started to feel more confident with the game and went straight into a sort of qualification mode where you're required to qualify for the World Cup. I chose England, of course, as I said, and you're basically put into a group of 5 different teams. There's 4 others, so basically you play each of those teams home and away, so 8 fixtures in order to qualify for the World Cup. And yeah, here we are straight into the first game. I've thrown it out there and given a goal away right off the rip. Very poor goal to give away, really. I think I'm playing Poland. Yeah, but I managed to get back into this game. It's my first game, so I was still getting used to the controls and stuff. But yeah, I managed to get an equaliser here, and I was only on 2 minutes each way, so you really don't have long to get a goal, really, because the clock carries on ticking while the ball is out of play or the goalkeeper's taking a goal kick and so on. And the injury time really doesn't compensate for that enough, so there's really not that much added on. Here I am in my next game playing Italy in snowy conditions that I selected to see what they were like. You can also choose hot, rainy and so on. It's nice to see that they got a different colour ball to white in these sort of conditions because it would make it more difficult to see. Yeah, Italy were a tough side. I think I drew this game, which is technically at home 0-0. Found it really tricky against these, especially on 2 minutes each way. And yeah, when I played them away, they actually beat me 1-0. I think I was getting a bit heated and just throwing the ball out recklessly, really. And yeah, I didn't do too well against them and lost. So here I am at half time making some changes. The usual team management you can do. You can change formation, but also personnel as well. Looking at the squads, they're very accurate to what they would have been at the time. I'm taking Ian Wright or Sheringham off at this point and bringing Shearer on, and I'm also bringing on Steve McManaman for Batty. But yeah, I looked at the other teams that I was facing, and there's always familiar players there. I think Inzaghi scored the winner against me for Italy. He was a very good striker back in the day, and he ran the front line for Italy for a while. And there was other players that I noticed for other teams that were in sync with what they should have been for that sort of era. But yeah, the other thing I noticed with this game is that the commentators are quite well known, John Watson and Andy Gray, so that adds to a sort of more realistic feel to the game, which is really good. And you even have them handed or introduced by Des Lynam, which is also a nice feature, really, because he's who would have been back in the studio as the pundit, as it were, the Gary Lineker of the day. So here we are in my last qualifying group game against Georgia. I need to win this because I'd lost one of my games to Poland and Italy. I've scored here and I'm getting really happy at this point because I know that it's in the bag. And yeah, unbeknown to me, you go straight into the World Cup mode. So yeah, I beat Senegal in my first game 3-0, Russia 1-0, and Iceland 1-0, I believe. So I topped the group with 9 points. And bizarrely, I came across France in the round of 16, which you would not expect, would you? But yeah, I managed to dispatch them 3-0 in the end. I wasn't expecting that. It was a tough game, but the last 2 goals came very late on, really. So it was good to get them out of the way. Then in the quarters, I beat Switzerland. The semis, I beat Croatia. And that took me to the final against Argentina, of all sides. So time to get my own back for what actually did happen in '98. But yeah, what I often found is that for the games that lesser teams in terms of quality, you could get by with 2 minutes each way, but for the harder games, including the final, you need 4 minutes each way to be certain. of getting a result really. Yeah, I did notice there were some skill features on the game, and you could do like little tricks and step overs and shimmies and stuff like that by using the R button, I believe. Just going on to the control scheme, so we haven't touched on those yet. The controls are pretty good. The movement's great. You can score a variety of goals really. So all in all, I was pretty impressed. I know how good ISS is on the system, and it's just a little bit of a shortfall compared to that. I was worried at this point that I was going to get a red card, but fortunately I got a yellow. I did get red cards earlier in the tournament for reckless challenges, sliding with the right C button, I believe. So it's good that you can slide tackle and so on, but you have to be careful with the timing of that. But yeah, here we are in the final, and it's a crucial part of the game, really, heading towards half time, and I'm keen to get my nose in front, and there we go, smashed into the back of the net by Teddy Sheringham of all players. So I've got my nose in front, and we go into the half-time mode. I'll make my changes, Batty for McManaman, and I believe I went for Shearer on for Sheringham. I know Sheringham had scored, but Ian Wright has a bit more pace in his locker, so I wanted to keep him on and keep it fresh, really. But yeah, happy at this point, the way things are going so far. But yeah, like I said, the controls are good. It feels good. It looks good. You know, the game is pretty decent. It reviewed pretty well, I believe. It got like 84%, no, 83% from the Nintendo magazine. Close shot there, not bad. But yeah, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10 just because it's not as good as ISS. But yeah, nice little finish there from Wright. So it was clearly a good decision to keep him on. But yeah, it just goes to show that, you know, the variety of goals you can score. I thought the AI was a bit silly there. Like it was almost like Argentina were desperate to score, so they just kept shooting from really far out. I hadn't come across that in the game to this point, but maybe it's because it was a final and they're urgently trying to score. But they were just shooting from like the halfway line and stuff. And I've just wrapped it up there with McManaman, another substitute that's come on, and here we go again with another careless shot from the halfway line, really. Just, I guess it is urgency, but it just seems a bit weird from an AI point of view. Just going back to the goal celebrations mixed and varied and good, which, you know, some good animations there. Now I'm just taking the mick and just doing that classic, see how far you can go with the goalkeeper. It ends up backfiring, and I can see why they shoot from everywhere now. Look, it goes straight in the bottom corner. What are the odds of that from that sort of range? But yeah, that's game over now, 3-1. I'm happy with that. We've won. England have won the World Cup '98, how they should have done it back in the day. So yeah, I played 15 games in total. I played on the default difficulty setting. Yeah, 8 in qualification for the World Cup, and then 7 games if you go all the way and win the World Cup final, which I did. So yeah, I had a good time to get a good feel of the game, and I did enjoy it. It's a good game, fun. I can imagine it was good back in the day as well. So yeah, I'm going to give it a strong 7 out of 10. And yeah, that's game 2 of 239 now completed. Get in. So that's it, guys. Game 2 of Mission N64 239 is now complete. FIFA Road to World Cup 98. Not only did we qualify for World Cup 98, as I thought the game would be, we actually went on and won the World Cup itself as well, which I didn't realise that was part of the game. But yeah, so we rewrote history. England won the World Cup. Not only that, as fate would have it, they beat Argentina in the final 3-1, as you saw. So yeah, and I actually found France more difficult to beat, who I faced in the round of 16, which wouldn't have happened. Like, you know, surely France would have won their group, and I presumably won my group. But yeah, I faced France in the round of 16, and just about edged past them 2-1, I think. And of all people, David Batty scored against them, so certainly made up for his penalty miss. And yeah, so that's it. The game's complete. It was tricky. I did lose games. I think I lost to France in the group. Tough game in the group of the qualifying for the World Cup, that was. And then I drew with them at home and lost away. I think it was a bit more difficult when I was playing on 2 minute each way. It was a lot more pressured, you know, pressure to score, and then I was making mistakes like throwing the ball out with the goalkeeper and throwing it straight to them and stuff like that. Whereas when I upped it to 4 minutes, I just felt a bit more relaxed and more time to get a goal and yeah, just get myself into the game. And the longer I played the game, the more at ease I felt with the control scheme, and the better on the ball I felt, and started to learn how the shooting works and so on, and grew into the game basically. And yeah, as you'd expect, the more difficult teams like your Frances, like your Argentinas, are harder to beat than some of the teams I had in the qualify for the World Cup groups weren't so difficult. But yeah, another one ticked off. Really happy with that. If you enjoyed it, please smash that like button. It really helps. If you're new, please consider subscribing and coming along on this journey to see if I can complete all 239 UK PAL N64 games. It's going to get lit very quick when we start getting into some of the harder titles. Let me know in the comments if you played this game back in the day, whether it was good or not, whether you enjoyed it, whether it's nostalgic to you, or let me know what you want to see me play next. At the moment, I'm not taking nominations because just trying to break myself in gently. But yeah, I will start taking votes soon on what the next game will be. So get involved and yeah, let me know what you like in the comments. Thanks for watching. It's much appreciated, and I'll see you on the next one.
Just finished park run. Can't wait to get home and play FIFA Road to World Cup '98.